Hello, today I'll be showing you how to use the Perspective Warp tool. It's a fun tool, and to find it, it's hidden in the menu. You'll go to Edit, and it's down right here in Perspective Warp. Now, I advise you, if you want to use this a lot, to set a shortcut. You can see I said something crazy here. It doesn't have to be like this. You just go down here in Keyboard Shortcuts, and then in Application menu, go to Edit, scroll down, and you'll find Perspective Warp. Click this, set your hotkey, and you're set to go. Alright, so what I like to use with Perspective Warp is almost just laying the foundation of what I'll be painting soon. It doesn't have to be exact, just enough to get the perspective. I've set up my assets on the top here, just a bunch of buildings, and I've actually created this whole little scene here just for this tutorial purpose. This rudimentary guide here, so it's always nice to have a bit of a guide so you know where to put your work points at. Alright, so we'll click onto a building asset here, and now you see when I click here it automatically selects the layers down here. That's accessed via this auto select. If you don't like that, you can take that off, hold control, and now you can see it toggles on and off. I leave it on by default. So I'll click this, copy that, click back into my scene, and paste it in. And then afterwards I'll transform it to size. The newest Photoshop doesn't let you hold shift, which took me a while to get used to. So let's put this into size here, hit enter, and now I'll use my crazy hotkey. But again, to find the Perspective Warp, edit, and Perspective Warp. So we'll click that here. Now the way this works is you're almost, if you're familiar with 3D, putting your UV maps in. If not, don't worry. When you drag it down, the edge of this, you can almost think of it like the corner of your building. So let's say I want the corner of my building to be this or this. You know, let's make it there. We'll drag the other side, and you can adjust these points, make it more straight. It doesn't really have to be completely. Alright, once that's done, on the top menu you can see there's two things, layout and warp. Well, once we set this up, let's go to warp. You'll see these points here. Oh, there's a motorcycle outside. Alright, so now you can start manipulating these points, and wow, look at that. So let's start conforming it, shall we, to our guides here. I like to over-exaggerate a little bit with my my buildings here, so that's a little too much. But one of the great things about this is it almost has a really low poly look. At least that's what I find. So look at that. We have our first building here. Once we're done, we can hit enter or the tick up here, whatever you're more comfortable with. I like hitting enter, and boom, it's done. One building. Now you can see how, hopefully, how you can see using this in your own art. So I'm just gonna start using my crazy hotkeys here, just to get this done a bit faster here. But you can use this in buildings. You can use this. I don't know. Actually, no, I've only figured out how to use this in buildings. I think I've done this on crates and boxes as well. Basically, if it doesn't really require a lot of perspective. Oh, there you go. A lot of complex. If you're not trying to manipulate a complex form, so my brain was freezing there for a second because like, oh, what's happening here? Once in a while, it'll get stuck if you're trying to move a point past its line here. It'll do something funny, so you just gotta drag it out a little bit like that. So hopefully, look at this. We're slowly making a fun little city here. All right. And the fun thing is, we can always use the same asset of the same building, more or less, and we can flip this around and see, I went up here to try and get the tool here. Start doing fun different forms. So it doesn't always have to be in a corner here. We can also have like almost a front-facing building. If you can see how far we can drag this, and you can see like that. That's like almost a front-facing building. I don't know why there'll be a building in the middle of the street, but just for demonstration purposes. At least that's my excuse for building here. We'll have something like this. And we're almost getting a fun little city here. Oops, I messed up there. That's alright. Alright. Anyway, hopefully this little fun tool gets some use. Let me know if you find other cool uses for this. I'm always trying to learn and always expand as an artist. Use the digital means as much as possible. But of course, like, don't use this as a crutch, I'd say, into getting trying to get good in perspective. This is great to use once you have your foundations in perspective, but if you don't think you have a strong foundation, I would just recommend learning a bit of perspective, because this will just make it a lot easier. I know for a fact sometimes it's really hard to gauge how far these windows are on the, when they're on the side here, so you know, it takes time. Alright, well, hopefully you've enjoyed this little demonstration. Please use it. Alright, have fun.